Right, hello everyone, welcome and thanks for watching this video. We're going to talk about the Blitz Asia Cup, the expectations you're going to be having, and also what you need to know for very short about the Asia server, the general meta there. And let's actually begin with what you might expect in the Asia server. You might expect a lot kind of the cap strategies, the cap win strategies. In fact, if you look at the average battle duration, we're talking about an average battle duration of 3 minutes and 40 seconds with a standard deviation of 51 seconds, and the median is actually 216 seconds, which is 3 minutes and 36 seconds. That's quite a long battle duration, and if I have the data for other servers as well, and we can compare it afterwards, and you can see Asia server might have a really long battle on average. Next we're going to see the average cap wins. It's 40.2% for the Asia server. If you've been watching my Friday Night Wild podcast, the open forum, I've measured the cap win percentage. That is going to be around like 30% or something like that. If that's the case, then what you're expecting is that's quite a high number. The 40.2% is quite a high number. So you're definitely going to see a lot of cap strategies. And the top 5 tanks on the Asia server, we have IS4 with being used 342 times. Next we have the T110E5 being used 309 times, and after that Mounts, which is almost 1/3 of that, the second place, only used 126 times. And we have T22 medium 125 times, not far behind, and finally Vickers Light with 110%. So before I continue, let's actually have a review of the head-to-head results of the top 4 teams. We have Feast winning 4-2 against HLV, same margin against Team ID, and then 4-3 against GV. Meanwhile, HLV won 4-3 against Team ID and the same margin against GV, and ID 4-2 against GV. All the results are from the Blitz Cup Preliminaries. And if you notice the pattern here, it's kind of like ranked in the right way. So the leaderboard, final leaderboard in the Blitz Cup Preliminaries, first place Feast, and then we have HLV, ID, and finally GV. And Feast won 3 games against the top 4 teams, and HLV 2, ID 1, and GV 0. So it's good sorting. Like the leaderboard, it's very similar to kind of the real situation you're seeing according to the fixture results. But will that be the case in the end? We have yet to see. We're going to see about Friday and Saturday. We're going to find out which first team is going to be eliminated from the tournament. And so let's begin with a team by team analysis. We're going to start off with Feast. Feast of 3 main stuff you're going to be watching about Feast. First, they are pretty strategical, so they're going to find a lot of like tactics and so on. And the cap win percentage is 43%, which is quite a high number here. So they can win a lot by caps and kind of get the game to really long duration. In fact, their average battle duration is 3 minutes and 52 seconds. That's the highest amongst all clans in the top 4. Meanwhile, another very important characteristic of Feast gameplay is lightweight. In fact, if you look at a number of users of the several tanks, Vickers Light, we're seeing 38 users. Only HLV managed to use more Vickers Lights than Feast with 39 users, but just only 1 more user. But then if you compare it to other numbers, 14 for Team ID, 19 for GV, that's quite a high number for Feast. Now Object 140, they are the only clan in top 4 that is using that tank with 23 users. That's still quite substantial, and obviously in the end T22 medium, not as mobile but a lot more well armored. They only use 14 times, the lowest amongst all the other clans. If you talk about the weighted average or the weighted score, what I mean by that is that let's assume the use of a light tank, they will score 0 points. The use of a medium tank, they will score 1 point. 2 points for heavy tanks and 3 points for TD. And Feast will get an average score of 1.61. That is the lowest among all top 4 teams, and that further shows that how mobile and how lightweight that Feast lineup is. If you compare it to XLV, Team ID, and Feast, that is pretty obvious that Feast is going to run pretty light setup. But then, what's good about that's the DPM. It's like, and also the gun. They're both DPM and gun, especially when you are rotating on the move, when you want to shoot on the move. Mediums and lights are the go-to choice, not the heavies, because the heavies usually they are pretty inaccurate on the move, especially the T95E6, which nobody would use. But you see what I mean by that. And obviously, the Figures Light and 140 are really good at this job.
But they still have the 8-point advantage. Saruzu being pushed by Boom Magoo. Let's get to that. Boom Magoo with a good shot, but good shot back by Saruzu. But Saruzu now is a one-shot, and it's a one-shot HE. Boom Magoo is going to push on him. Boom Magoo's got nothing to lose. He needs to get the tank out. Oh, CXX comes around the back, but Boom Magoo finishes him off. Now I'm Blitz Slave is pushing onto Maddox. Maddox is now a one-shot, and Maddox is in trouble. But so is I'm Blitz Slave. Boom Magoo may be able to finish it. Yes, he does. It's all changed again. This time HLV are on the back foot. Lots of low hit points out there. All Lean getting a pummeling. So is CXX. But they're going to push on to Lean here. Maddox taking down Lean. Moving now to lap behind. He's very healthy. He's trying to push onto F Silver. F Silver there getting a good shot to lap behind. He's going to give him the rotation around the rocks. From Abyss is running around trying to cap out. There he is at the back there, over there, overlooking the A cap. CXX is going to try and push on him with Maddox in support. There are a lot of low hit points on Feast team though. Well, Abyss is going to go down over there. I'm not going to go over there, it's too far. And we're not going to get there quickly enough. Down goes Abyss. Lap behind is the last man standing. Everything is favouring Feast apart from hit points, because lap behind has got a lot more hit points. But he's toying. Oh, that's a good shot by Boom Magoo. That allows F Silver to put a shot in. Down goes lap behind. Well played, Boom Magoo. Well played, Feast. Really close game there.
And finally, Feast are not afraid they are in a cap's advantage. Going back to the average battle duration, 3 minutes 52 seconds, the longest amongst all clans, and average battle duration. I mean, in terms of a win of a one battle, that number increases to 3 minutes and 53 seconds. In fact, GV is the only other clan that has higher the average one battle duration than the normal average battle duration. So that's quite an interesting fact to see from Feast. Moving on, we have HLV. HLV, two main characteristics you'll be finding in this clan. The first being them defending an initial rush pretty well. That happens quite a lot of times, and if you're going to see this video, them dealing with that initial push from our end.
This could descend into brawl very early on with our end, just going very aggressively. Sagittarius unfortunately bounced onto Bull Sortie, and the E5s are just going straight into these ice balls. They're focusing Bull Sortie at this point. Sagittarius puts and then another good shot to Bull Sortie. That tank is in trouble, but Ares got rammed by Enjoy Solo Q and takes an unfortunate good amount of damage from Enjoy Solo Q. But now HLV has responded. They're trying to shut down Sagittarius here, and Sagittarius is trying to move out of the way. But Virgo is a one-shot, and he got killed by From Abyss. This push from RN, would that be foiled here? Because now HLV with more than 2k to 5th advantage, RN with RN are in trouble here. Toyota time very low. It's now down to 818, I think. And Enjoy Solo Q backward ram Toyota time, and Blue Planet rams into Toyota time as well, kills him off as in the process. Cancer is dead as well. But it's now going to be 5 versus 4. Pisces is now going round Chimpanzee is trying to block lead, which is a good idea, but he needs to put a really good HE shell. Does he put a good HE shell? No, he missed, I think. But Sagittarius is dead. Ares is dead. Our N is going to lose this by quite a margin here. Chimpanzee is getting surrounded by 4 HLV tanks, and the Pisces is going to do a 1 vs 1 against Sarutsu, but Pisces has a lot less hit points, a lot fewer hit points than Sarutsu. Chimpanzee's down by lead. I think Pisces, receives a bounce from Sarutsu. Sarutsu can kill him off in the next shell, obviously. And he does. And this is going to be a 3rd game.
If we're talking about the stats here, their average loss duration is 3 minutes and 47 seconds, and that number is 12 seconds more than their average win duration, which is at 3 minutes and 35 seconds. So definitely, if the battle goes on to a longer time, there's a higher chance they will lose instead of winning, vice versa. Besides that, you can see them using IS-4 116 times. That's the tank with the highest number of users amongst all other tanks of all other clans. And mouse 40 users, that's also the highest number of users amongst all the clans that have used a mouse. So IS-4, mouse, 2 heavily armored tanks, and if you get rushed by the enemies, which I don't assume that the enemies would do that because of that armor profile that IS-4 and mouse would bring to the table, you can see why HLV could defend a push pretty well. And finally, HLV, they're very good at punishing people, clans for being careless, chipping away at hit points as they like. In fact, if you talk about the average duration, that's 3 minutes and 41 seconds, and that's quite actually similar to the average duration of GV, which is actually known for doing some cap strategies, and their cap win percentage actually joined lowest with ID with 36%. So caps aren't really the most important thing for HLV, but they use it to some extent. But you can see my point that they could drag the battle for some time, and if you take another statistic, which is the standard deviation of the battle duration is 45 seconds for a normal battle. That's actually the lowest for all the clans. But if you are taking the standard deviation of their winning battles, that's going to be increased to 49 seconds, and that has the highest jump amongst all other clans. And that's going to further show you that if they know that they have chipped enough hit points away from the enemies, they're going to make a boo. So HLV probably quite a dangerous clan if you take them lightly. Next up, we have Team ID. It's quite an interesting clan to note on the Asia server, because they're known for their decisive pushes early on in the game.
The Boons forces very strong, vociferous. That is the word I would say for Team ID going into the Boons forces. Look at Mystic and James Bond. How are they going to respond to this wrath? And the IDS just blocking Mystic's escape route here. And I don't think Mystic will be alone. He's the first time down. James Bond is just running around in circles. He's tracked as well. Oh my goodness me. ID are striding in this match. They're looking really strong here. And he's tracked. And James Bond is there. It's a hidden surprise on the reactive armor where GG is running around. But he's also very low. He's down to how about like 274 hit points here, and he's down finally. Hazard is also game is also somewhat low, but IDS is a one shot. But Team ID are going for Pepperotti, and he's down to one shot now. And I don't think he will be long. Game, will he be killed by Boon's forces here? And he is killed by Plurielic, and Pepperotti is killed. Where GG is absolutely tracked by Campen's Ram here. He is finally down. Game is down by Hazard, but Boon is completely eviscerated in this one. It happened so quickly. It's just about 2 minutes into the game, we know who the winner of this matchup is. Team ID still with a lot of hit points on the board. Now for make it down to 1 shot, he's going to be killed by radioactive.
In fact, if you look at their average win duration, that's very low. 3 minutes and 16 seconds. That's the lowest amongst all 4 clans, obviously. 19 seconds lower than the second lowest average win duration. That's HLV with 3 minutes and 35 seconds. So obviously, if ID have made a good advance early on in the game, it's very likely they're going to take home that win. Besides that, the cap win percentage, they don't really like caps. They just want to go for kills. They have the joint lowest cap win percentage alongside HLV with 36%. Another thing that you might be noticing already is that they love U100s. So far, they've been using 38 times the U100 during the Blitz Cup Preliminaries. That's a lot higher than quite other clans, which only used it like once or twice, something like that. But Team ID, 38 users, and they like triple U100 strategy. So are we going to see that during the Blitz Cup on Friday and Saturday? Maybe. Third most used tank for them. For Team ID, even higher than Miles, T22 or the Vegas. Finally, we have GV. They've made some impressive results against other clans, but there's one to watch as well. They really love cap wins. In fact, if you look at the number of cap wins, the percentage is at 46%. That's almost half of their wins being cap wins. So obviously that's a really high percentage, and if you allow them to cap the bases and let them win by that, if you're not careful enough in dealing with them, and that happened a lot for GVs, that they rotate and then they just send one tank or even 2 tanks in capturing a base, stealing that base from your hands. If you're not aware of that, you could play into the hands of GV. I mean, you can see it very nicely in that video I'm going to show you. Very good steal from them.
Arc Knight is a 1 shot. Down he goes. Arc Knight goes down, but so does Doha in the IS-4. Feast have got lots of caps, and there's a big battle going down here between Maddox, Sleeping Lion, Berlin in Barcelona. Can they focus one of these tanks? Down goes Doha. Moscow comes in, but slightly... down goes Maddox. Moscow comes in, but slightly too late. Maddox down, Arc Knight's down, CXX down, but Professor is also down. Down goes down goes Sleeping Lion, Bifrost, but look at the points that Feast have got here. They're losing tanks, but they've got the points. Bifrost is now being pushed quite heavily. Berlin is going to be able to get a roll into that plate, no doubt. Barcelona's maybe looking at trying to put one up the tailpipe. Barcelona does. Down goes Bifrost. But look where Boom Magoo and F Silver are. They've run away to Cap D. They've got the points, but they don't have the hit points, and they don't have the tanks on the battlefield. They're very healthy, though. If they can stay out of the way and cap everything, but GV are now going around and capping out. Boom Magoo is going to come up against Rome here. He puts a shot in, but look at the points. If they can take it, oh, Tokyo's there. In comes F Silver to help out. If they can take this cap or even get down Tokyo, they have a chance of winning on points. Oh, Rome comes in to help out. Down goes Tokyo. Can they get rid of Rome? F Silver's going to go though, unless he bounces. Great shot there. Rome is going to go down, maybe, if they can get rid of Rome. Oh no, F Silver goes, but Rome goes. Boom Magoo has got to take out a tank. He has no choice. But now the points are favouring GV, and GV catch it just at the end. Wow.
In fact, the average battle duration for GV is 3 minutes and 43 seconds. And naturally, is if you remember that I said about Feast, GV is the other clan that has higher average win duration. They have 3 minutes and 45 seconds of that. Kind of the standard deviation. It's actually 49 seconds for the normal battle, and even 50 seconds, even more. Second highest. I mean, 50 seconds full with battles. So it all depends on how fast the caps are. I mean, the cap points are increasing. I mean, Yukon, it's going to be a map that's heavily skewed because before the update, the cap points increased by 5, even if there's a 4 cap map. So a lot of clans are going for a cap win there, and the cap increases so quickly that around like 2 minutes or so, it could reach to like 800 point territory. So, but that has been fixed. So are we going to see something different about GUB? We'll see. And finally, we're going to talk about the maps. We're going to start off with the upper bracket first round. First map is Goldville. In fact, that's going to be the map you're going to see a lot of medium satellites. In fact, if you're talking about the weighted average or weighted points, 1.59, even lower than that of a Feast, 1.61. So obviously that map is going to benefit Feast, plays down, so on. Not quite so for Team ID, although ID won quite convincingly before one Goldville, if I remember correctly. So I think we're going to see some interesting and exciting games to begin with, and for Feast it's going to be a good start for them on Goldville. And then we're going for Mayan Ruins, which is a polar opposite of Goldville. In fact, this is the only map where the two most used tanks aren't IS-4 and T110E5 in the map pool that we're going to be discussing very soon. Mouse is actually the second most used tank on Mayan Ruins with 10 users, and T110E5 only scored 8 users. So this is the only map where you're going to see a lot of mouses, maybe 100 as well. We're documenting 8 users, 10 users of that. I mean, that's because ID used all of the E100s in the Mayan Ruins. So I mean, if you talk about this, that's the second most used tank in Mayan Ruins. That's going to be gibberish because that's going to be used by only one single clan, but not Mouse. It's used by 3 clans. So Mayan Ruins is going to be a popular choice for Mouse. And if you talk about the weighted average, that score, it's going to be over 2. That I don't know if it's going to be the only map to score over 2, but it's 2.02. That's much higher than the highest weighted average for a Team ID, 1.76. And that could benefit Team ID a lot, although we're going to see much better gameplay from Team ID, because I believe Team ID against Feast on on Mayan Ruins, I don't think ID was playing seriously that time, but a lot of heavies you're going to see, and will that cripple the excitement? I don't think so. I think we still in for some exciting matches. And one thing to know about Mayan Ruins, the sudden ambushes, that happen a lot in a lot of occasions. Ambushes is what you'll be expecting. The tiebreaker map is going to be Port Bay, and the Port Bay is actually quite even, Stevens. We're seeing around 1.64 for the average score, so no particular clan will benefit from a certain playstyle. So it's all down to the strategies and whether you can kind of rotate and kind of get back cap and something like that. But I'm very sure we're going to be seeing some exciting stuff, thrilling stuff. So edge of the seats stuff. So it's going to go down to whether that team is going to have good mentality and have that stamina to continue into Port Bay. But I don't see it favoring any of the 4 clans here. So it's going to be a really good tiebreaker map, I must say. And next we have the lower bracket first round. We start off with Middleburg. Middleburg's a map that I get so salty and teams commit to A and B in the city, because it seldom works with all those very long and open corridors, and then long straight and open corridors makes it somewhat easy to kind of do a run wall and coordinate well. And you have that B cap, which is so close to the hillside, so defending that cap is going to be excruciatingly difficult. But nonetheless, Middleburg, we are seeing an average, weighted average of 1.61. That's the same as Feast score, so Feast will benefit quite a lot in Middleburg. And in fact, the map pool you're going to be, that the teams are going to be playing, is actually quite beneficial for teams that play really well in mediums and lights. And in fact, we are talking about Fouls is 1.70, which is kind of doesn't tilt to any particular team, maybe to Team ID or maybe to well, not really, but it's quite even Stevens, and it's all about getting the right rotation. So it really depends on whether the team can perform well, have good strategies. And finally, the tiebreaker map we have, it's going to be Oasis Palms. Oasis Palms is a map that's really open. The desert area. We don't see TDs, which is quite strange because normally the TDs would benefit from an open map and a very big map as well. But Oasis Palms, you're seeing a lot more mobility there. In fact, Focus Light has been used 9 times. I think that's the highest you're going to see amongst all the 6 maps I've mentioned. So a lot of mobility, a lot of rotation. 1.61 is the weighted average, same as Middleburg. So it's going to benefit teams that have a really mobile setup and could get the crossfire from different angles. So I'm gonna say kind of the lower bracket, first round, that would benefit teams like Touchwood, Feast. I think they would benefit from this map pool. But for like upper bracket first round, I don't see any clan would particularly benefit from this map pool, especially when you have a map that is rewarding a lot of mobility play, and another map in the map pool that's going to award defensive gameplay. So I think it's quite in a mixed bag here. It's quite well mixed. So upper bracket first round, it's all up to the kind of strategies, whether they could capitalize on kind of the advantages they have within their team, and it will be exciting to watch, obviously. And that's it for my analysis, and also my for my analysis. I hope you enjoyed my analysis. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and also follow me on Twitch. I'm doing live streaming. And for this week, Friday, I'll be streaming Blitz Asia Cup. For the next few weeks, but the other Blitz Cup finals, I will see. I'll make an announcement to that whether I will be streaming that or not. But other than that, well, that's really cool for me. So I'll see you all then. Bye for now.